Hi guys, it's Mena. Sorry about that. Hi guys, it's Mena, and today in this video, I got a notice on my thingy, so sorry about that. Anyway, so hi guys, it's Mena, and today in this video, I'm going to do my top 10 book reports. Now, I didn't start doing book reports until I was like in the 4th grade, and then I did them pretty much almost all throughout. I did them all throughout my last 2 years of elementary school. I did them throughout pretty much all year of middle school, and then I only did one book report pretty much when I was in my freshman year in high school. So yeah, I'm going to talk about some of the book reports that I did, and I'm going to tell what books I did them on, and I'm going to try to explain each project and how they were done. And this may give some teachers ideas that are teaching certain classes, like what kind of ideas they can have to make book reports fun. So I'm going to get started. So number one on my list had to be book in a can, and I did this book in a can. So the way this worked was you had to take like a roll of paper, and you had to like draw like do a summary of the story, and then draw pictures, and then you had to like draw pictures for each scene that you write a little summary for the book, and then you like take a can, and then you cut like it open, and you cut like a little like slit in it, and then you put it in, and then you stick the paper out, and then as you pull the paper out, you kind of like see like the story of the book, if that makes sense. And then you put like a plastic thing on top, and you kind of see the summary of the book as you pull out like the piece of paper. So I did mine on Shiloh, and what I did was I had to like draw the pictures on the paper, and my mom had to help me with this. So my brother and my mom both helped me with this because my brother did it when he was in 5th grade. I don't think he remembers. I remember he said he did it like on Captain Underpants and stuff. So Underpants, I kept an Underpants book, and then what we did, I did Shiloh. So what we did was my mom helped me with this, and we drew the picture. We drew them on a roll of paper, and then what we did was we took a I don't remember what kind of can it was, but I think it was a brain fade soup can, and then a small little soup. No, it wasn't a small soup can. It was a Pringles can. I think it was a Pringles can. I can't really remember because I haven't done this project in like so long. And what we did was we put paper around it, cut a slit in it long enough to pull the paper out, and then I drew a picture of like a beagle, glued it on, and then I put the paper in, and then I pulled out, and I did it on Shiloh. Beagle on it. Well, actually, because I did it on Shiloh, because that's why there was a beagle on it. Ignore that. That was my fun. So that was a pretty fun project. So it was like reading a book as you pull out like a paper from a can. That was pretty cool. So number 2 on my list has to be writing a letter to a character, and I did this one on writing freedom. And it was fun because I was like, I was writing a letter, but it wasn't really addressed to anyone. It was like, it was addressed to the character Freedom from the book Writing Freedom. So when I was in the 4th grade, we got a list of like ideas to do our book reports on, and we had to check box each one of these assignments. And then what we did was we all got to do kind of different assignments. Like we had a choice to either act it out, write a letter to a character, or or make puppets, a photo album, or a poster. Yeah, so for this one I decided to write a letter, and I wrote it to the character Freedom, who was a horse, who was owned by Charlotte Parkhurst. And this is a pretty good book, and if you didn't know, Writing Freedom is based on a true story. It was about this girl who was raised in a boy orphanage and kind of like very independent, and she acted more like one of the guys than she did a girl. It was a pretty good book, and she had a love for working in the stable, and she loved it so much. And it was actually based on a true story, so I wrote a character to the horse Freedom, and it was pretty cool. Number 3 on my list would have to be make puppets, and this was for Junie B. Jones's Almost a Flower Girl. So what I did was I had to, I took some skewers and then I cut some pieces of black construction paper and drew like 3 characters on them. I think I drew, I drew Junie B. Jones, I drew Junie B. Jones's Aunt Flo, and I think her fiance's little sister. Her sister, and what I did was I do it on black construction paper, then I colored it, and then I taped them all on like skewers, like wooden skewers, and that was pretty much all that I did for my report for school. Number 5 on my list had to be photo album, and this is from Junie B. And this is when I read Junie B. Jones Has a Monster in Her Bed. So how I did this was I took each character that I could find in the book, and I found pictures in the book, and I just drew a picture of each character in the book. And for those who didn't know, I loved Junie B. Jones when I was little. And I just took characters from the book and just like drew them on one picture. Number 6 on my list had to be make a poster, and that was from Mr. Putter and Tabby Picked Pears. And Mr. Putter and Tabby were pretty good books, but the only problem is I'd finish them in one day. I finished them in one day. And those were kind of like, I think, too little those weren't advanced for me. They were just like too easy for me to read, so my mom kind of didn't really like me reading Mr. Putter and Tabby books for school because she thought they were way too easy for me to read. And what I did was I just drew a picture of Mr. Putter and Tabby and colored it on like a cardboard or something. Number 7 on my list, so I'm trying to remember. Okay, I put Shiloh by mistake. Okay, so I'm trying to remember my other book report, which kind of stinks. Number 7 on my list would have to be write a biography about Susan B. Anthony, and this was in my freshman. This was my 7th grade. I had a list of book reports I had to do, and I had to do kind of a biography book report on Susan B. Anthony. And I did it, and I just like wrote a biography and talked about her, which is perfect because I think that time it was Women's History Month. And I picked and I thought that was a good idea for me to do that. Number 8 on my list had to be a box diorama. This was on if you were a ballet dancer. Okay, so when I was in, one of our assignments for 4th grade, we each had to pick a sports book. Well, I couldn't find any sports books, and my teacher suggested I do a hobby, which was ballet, because I wasn't really interested in sports at that time. So what I did was I took a ballet book and I read it, and I kind of finished it one day, and my mom and I went out and bought like some little toy sets that we used and we took a shoebox, and then I painted the inside of it, and then I took some toys and I hot glued them to in the diorama, and made it look like they were in like a ballet studio and stuff, and I put and I glued like the toys and the dolls in there. It was pretty cool. Number 9 on my list had to be a Venn diagram and write the own story, and this was on Peter Pan and Bambi. So for this assignment, what I had to do is I had to read a fairy tale book, and I remember reading both. I'm pretty sure it was Peter Pan and Bambi. I remember reading both Peter Pan and Bambi for this assignment, and what I did was I had to read the books and then do a Venn diagram on them. Because I had to do a fairy tale book, and then I had to write my own story. And I remember the story I wrote, nobody really seemed to like. I thought it was kind of, I'm not going to talk about it because it's kind of embarrassing, but it was like a boring story that I just wrote, and it wasn't really interesting, but my teacher liked it. But no one else in my class liked it. Number 10 on my list had to be Shylock's Daughter, and this I had to write a paper and do a poster of it. So what I did was this was my freshman year in high school. So what I did was I read this book called Shylock's Daughter, and it was really interesting, and I think it was loosely based off of Shakespeare's play The Merchant of Venice. And what I did was I read the book, and then I had to take a poster and draw a picture of the picture of the poster. And then what I did next was I wrote like a summary about it and talked about the story. Okay, and I really liked that book because it gave some interesting history. So that was my top 10 book reports video. I'm sorry this was kind of long, but oh well. I hope you guys enjoyed the video. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you in another video soon. Bye!